In your experience, being the person that you are, you're very well versed with geopolitical issues and the history of the world. When I read this news, and I'm talking in the perspective of the reader, somebody who is you call me, I'm just a civilian.
I am a civilian myself.
Yeah. Should we be worried?
Definitely, when you read the news of the pager, for instance, everybody should be worried. If you are using Israeli technologies or Israeli linked technologies, you have to be worried. If you are using American technologies, to some extent, you also have to be worried. Surveillance is at its highest. They have no respect whatsoever for our personal privacy anywhere in the world. And this does not apply only to genocidal regimes. It applies to some big conglomerates and big companies who are using whatever technologies and big data to control the world. So we have to be alert, of course. But with what's going on in the Middle East, we should be more, civilians and the layman should be worried not only about security aspects. We should be worried about food security. We should be worried about prices of products and goods. What Israel is doing is only, perpetuating an international crisis that will increase the prices of goods and products across the world. It will most probably increase the prices of petrol and energy across the world. Because once you start heating a plate, the fire will not only heat the center, it will heat the whole. If you like roti canai and you go to a mama shop to buy roti canai, just spend a minute looking at the plate. Don't put your finger, it will hurt you. The fire source is in a few corners, but the whole plate is hot. Israel started this heat in Gaza. It started this heat in Lebanon. It's now starting heat in Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. The whole Middle East will be on fire. We don't know when. Now maybe half of the Middle East is on fire, but at one point of time, the whole Middle East will explode. Do you think the people of the Middle East, like the Jordanian man who went with his lorry and a gun into the border and shot Israeli soldiers, do you think they will be silent forever? People are so angry. People coming back to the boycott issue. I understand people boycotting Israeli brands, but why are people boycotting every American brand and almost every Western brand? Because the feeling of complicity of these Western countries makes these angry people want to do something. Okay, not everybody is willing to carry a gun like this Jordanian man and go into the border of Israel, but many people are willing to stop buying a coffee that probably aids genocide, even if it's an allegation, That's why some of these Western brands are collapsing, one after the other. They will continue to collapse as long as the genocide continues in the Middle East. Israel should be curbed. Somebody has to come to hold Netanyahu and stop him from what he's doing, because it will only cause more crisis around the world. And the First World War and Second World War, for that sake, started with one or two incidents. So I don't think people in 1913 and early 1914 knew that they are going to go into a massive global war that changed the map of the world. But yeah, an incident happened in the Balkan, and eventually the whole world was on fire, or at least the Western world in the First World War. Now, what's happening in the Middle East, and before that, what happened in Ukraine, and the irrationality of the United States in particular, of course, the space they give to Netanyahu will probably lead us to World War III. I really hope this never happens, but it's almost happening,
That's scary.
Some geopolitical thinkers say what's happening is World War III in a different style right now.
What do you mean by that?
Instead of one global war where everybody's fighting everybody, there are so many regional wars happening in Eastern Europe, in the Middle East, and for whatever reason, if Trump, for instance, is elected, we might see things happening in South China Sea or even in Southeast Asia. So people have to be prepared and have to be aware. Civilians, individuals, and governments. If your government is not spending enough on food security, on economic sovereignty and independence, on even on armament, necessary armament, then you have to be aware and start to tell decision makers to do something. I don't want to be the bearer of, or the one who brings bad news, but the world today doesn't look that pleasant, you know.